Hey, this is Matthew.
And this is Andrea.
Welcome to Nerd News Today, and we just saw Spider-Man Far From Home.
Or as I like to put it, lights, camera, Gyllenhaal.
Where'd that come from? So we just saw Spider-Man Far From Home, and spoiler alert, there's going to be spoilers.
Lots of them.
Yeah. So if you've already seen the movie, stay tuned because we got a lot to talk about. If you haven't seen it, you should probably pause this and come back later.
Yeah. Go see the movie.
So we'll see you guys in 1 second as we review Spider-Man Far From Home. So Spider-Man Far From Home is actually the epilogue to Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Which is lame.
Kind of is, but it kind of makes sense in some ways.
It makes sense, but no, it is lame. I will stand by this.
It's a tough call. Basically, in quick, the plot to Spider-Man Far From Home, if you've already seen it, you already know.
The plot is very simple. Peter and his class go on a school trip. I believe at one point it was called a science trip, but there was very little science involved. Well, there was actually a lot of science involved, but not the kind that their science teacher was thinking about.
No.
For him, it was witchcraft. You'll understand when you see it. But yeah, they go on vacation. Peter's really excited to get away from everything because he's kind of having almost like some mild PTSD from what happened after Endgame.
He's got some anxiety issues and he's just feeling overwhelmed and really stressed out for everything that happened since he got returned from that blip.
Yeah, because it feels like there's a lot more pressure on him. He very much wants to just get away from it all because he's missing Tony something fierce. Yeah, by the way, spoiler for Endgame if you haven't seen it. Why are you here? And yeah, Tony dies. They go to Europe. Shenanigans happen. And Nick Fury suddenly popping up saying, hey, you've been avoiding my calls. We need to talk. There's some stuff going on. Let me introduce you to this man, Mysterio. He's from another world. He's from our world, alternate universe.
And so, of course, Peter Parker can never truly escape anything horrible going on.
Oh, of course not.
So all these villains are attacking, and him and Mysterio have to team up. But, spoiler alert, Mysterio is full of crap, as he always is, because he's the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And it turns out he's working together with a big group of former Stark employees.
Wait, hold up. You can't just say it like that. You can't. It's not just that he's full of crap. That he's so full of crap, he had to gather a team to help him be full of crap. An epic pile of crap. Epic crap.
So Mysterio and his epic dump are basically trying to be some horrible bad people. Long story short.
Mysterio is not from another universe. Though he did throw out the infamous 616.
616?
616 is in the house! Well, actually, we're all in 616, but that's a different story. He's using the whole alternate universe theory and scenario, whatever, but really, he's a former Stark employee, and Tony apparently took some of his tech, his illusion tech, tried to turn it into something else, if you remember in Iron Man 2, I believe? 2 or 3?
That was 3.
Sorry, in Iron Man 3, you see the de-aged Tony Stark. That tech was Jake Gyllenhaal's tech. Sorry, Mysterio's tech.
Quentin Beck,
whatever. Stupid name. It is. And he
it's a theater actor's name.
Ouch.
It is. He's in the comics. Well, whatever.
Okay, anyway.
We'll get to that.
That is true. But yeah, so he got together with other former Stark employees who were bitter and jaded and felt Tony had, taken their tech and not given them any credit. And they teamed up and created the Mysterio illusion. And he wants to be the world's greatest hero. He wants to be the ultimate Avenger. He wants to be the next Iron Man.
And all Peter Parker wants is MJ's attention.
Pretty much. All he wants to do is just, be Peter Parker, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man who gets the girl. But no, he has he has teenage obstacles in his way, too.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is hilarious. Bad stuff happens.
Destiny calls, Peter answers.
Yeah.
Where's the costume?
He dons on the suit.
Whole new suit. Peter saves the day, but, stuff happens after that, so we'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah.
You've already seen it, you know it.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot going on here, and we're going to try and not make this a hour-long video. We're going to try.
So let's talk, number 1, acting, and Tom Holland, he is Spider-Man.
Tom Holland is too precious for this world. Seriously, we have been blessed with a guy like Tom Holland. He is Peter Parker.
Yeah, to the core.
It's amazing. And if you see him in any interviews, he is Peter Parker.
Tobey Maguire was a very good Spider-Man for the times. Andrew Garfield was a very good actor. As far as like a Peter Parker Spider-Man goes, I always get stuck on that, but I did think he had good chemistry with his Gwen Stacy.
Well, that's why he dated her in real life, you know. So.
And I thought he was. That's a whole different thing. But you know, Tom Holland is really, really great. Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
He pulls off both in a way that the others couldn't.
Yeah.
Because especially
There's more sincerity to it. I
didn't see the Andrew Garfield version. I couldn't bring myself to do it because it was so soon after the Tobey Maguire, and I really loved the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. 3 excluded, even though there were some okay parts there. Not much, but there was some decent stuff. I felt Tobey really did embody Spider-Man. I thought he did a damn good job. But in all honesty, he was a better Peter Parker than he was a Spider-Man, I think.
Yeah.
And Tom, because of his natural ability, as well as just who he is, he's good at both.
And the cool thing is he's basically signed on to do now like 7 more of these movies as Spider-Man.
He's pretty much said he'll be Spider-Man until he can't walk anymore.
Which is pretty great. I'm fine with that.
I am too.
It's going to be the first time in cinematic history we really get to see the Spider-Man character grow from high school kid through college years into adulthood.
I really hope so. I look forward to that journey. I don't know how it's going to be with, with MJ and with Ned. Like I don't know how that stuff's going to go on, and with Flash, but I really want to see Peter's journey.
And I really like seeing the standalone films because we have already basically seen Spidey this is his 5th appearance.
Is it really his 5th
I believe it is, because he was in the Avengers Civil War.
Yeah.
He was in then Spider-Man, and he was in both Avengers Infinity Gauntlet and Endgame. So this is actually the 5th Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Spider-Man movie. So we've seen a lot of him already, which is crazy to think, but we still haven't really seen a lot of him.
No, we haven't, and so we need to see more.
And this was a really great entry for that and getting more of who he is. Okay. And there's a lot of him to get, which is great.
I'm going to say there's a clip floating around. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. But I think the one that sums it up the best is the Peter tingle. That moment with him and Aunt May where she calls his Spidey sense the Peter tingle. His reaction is just the purest reaction of all.
Yeah.
It's just so authentic. Because I think every single one of us would have that reaction if our parent, relative, or anyone who is an adult or older than us said that to us. And I think the fact that he made that so completely, relatable, I mean, it's hard not to make it relatable, but the fact that it was just so genuine sounding, and it felt genuine, that just sums it up for me.
And I am a big fan of Marisa Tomei as...
Me too.
Yeah, she's really good at, when Aunt May was first revealed as being Marisa Tomei, I was like, she's so young. And we're used to Aunt May being the little old lady who's sick all the time in the comics. That's all she does in the first 10 years.
I know, right?
So, to have a young, vivacious Marisa Tomei, Aunt May, it's actually working pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Sally Field. I did see some of that, and I liked Sally Field as Aunt May. I don't think she did a bad job. I just don't think it was... What she was given to work with was enough. I don't think it was developed enough.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna watch all those one day, and that's pretty much the sum of all those Andrew Garfield era Spider-Mans. Yeah,
because I saw parts of it. I saw parts of it, and Sally Field herself has actually said that she wasn't too happy with it. It's also not her thing.
She wasn't comfortable in the role.
Yeah, she wasn't comfortable, but I liked her, and I liked the fact that we weren't having super old Aunt May, because quite frankly these days you could be in your 60s and 70s and still look like you're 40s, 50s. So I like that, it's more with the times. And Marisa Tomei is just awesome.
Yeah.
I love her. And, she's always been an inspiration to me. Oh, my God.
You and my cousin Vinny.
You have no idea.
So Zendaya as MJ. So that's a tough one. We were talking about this a little bit earlier before we started filming. And, we like Zendaya. I think we can both agree we really like Zendaya.
Oh, I love her.
She's pretty great.
She's awesome.
She's going to be, in 10 years from now, she's going to be running cinema. And as MJ, since she's not Mary Jane, she's someone else. Different name. It's Michelle, whatever it was, I think it is.
She's MJ.
She's MJ. But it's a very different MJ than what we're used to seeing, and I still don't know how well it actually works, even in this movie, where she does a lot more than she has in the first Spider-Man. But her character is still just kind of I'm this badass female character, but so what? I don't really do anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of that right now. One of the things that we had been talking about is that I like that she's a stronger character than the MJ in the comics and the MJ in the movies. She's there as a vehicle for Peter. She's the love interest.
She's always been the Rock, I felt like. Because a lot of ways, basically, when I think of her especially when I was growing up in the 90s, The only time you really saw her was either on the street interacting with Peter, or like having thought bubbles about being worried about Peter, or in the house talking to Peter.
I mean, she had the modeling career, which I thought was pretty cool. And I did like that she had the modeling career.
It's a great excuse to draw her in a bikini.
That's a different story. I just like that she had a career outside of it, and it was, look, would have been cooler if she was a scientist or she was on Peter's level in terms of that sort of thing. Sure. But
she's an important character.
She's important, yeah.
She always is an important character and an important part of grounding Peter and being the other voice.
Yeah.
But so far, MJ in the series,
there's not much going on.
Granted, it's still the second movie. They're not even a thing yet. So
they are.
I mean, now they are. But
yeah, they become a thing by the end.
We've had 5 minutes of them as a thing. So otherwise, she now already knows who he is.
Adorable, awkward thing.
Yeah. So I mean, there's room to grow, but we'll have to wait till the next time we see them to actually see where they're going to take this. So.
Yeah, and again, with what happened at the end, it's just sort of like, holy crap.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, now we're going to start jumping around because we're getting to that point, but it is one of my criticisms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, especially, is that we really have to wait to see things develop. It's like they'll spend a whole 2-hour plus movie setting up a thing for the next movie. They gotta wait 3 years from then, and then it's just the same process. They give us little bits and pieces of actual character development.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, part of me feels like that is kind of life, where you're always setting up for something next.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, it is truer, and it helps me feel like, oh, this character has life. I'm going to see more of this character. And that is something that's not really done in movies, other than, oh, you got your sequel, or... Yeah, it would be really nice if there was, like, if we had more movies where it's just, nope, here it is. You don't need to watch it you don't need to watch anything before, you don't need to watch anything after. If you want to, you can. We'll throw in a few little eggs here and there, and we'll give you an awesome post-credits scene that'll make you want to watch the next movie. But, sort of like what they did with Iron Man, even.
Yeah.
Like the original Iron Man. It was just... Yeah, you wanted more, but you can be okay watching just that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being teased, and like it's annoying because I know I have to wait a lot of years for the next one to come out.
Yeah.
But it's I am still invested in it, and that's a good thing. It's
yeah,
that's a positive as well, as much as it is a negative.
They're comic books. They're comic book movies, and for good or bad, they're comic book movies. I don't think there's any way else to put it, really.
And so we can't talk about relationships without discussing Aunt May and Happy Hogan. Yeah, so...
Well, no, hold on. We have to back up. We have to backtrack to that. Because we can't talk about Aunt May and Happy without talking about Happy and Peter. Well, actually, or Aunt May and Peter. Because those two by themselves, they're definitely big changes. With Peter and Aunt May, now that she knows his secret, they're able to do more together. Like, there's a closeness there that you didn't really see as much in the first movie.
Yeah.
Which was awesome because he doesn't have to hide from her. And she's the one who makes sure he has his suit with him.
And his banana.
The banana that gets him into trouble. There's a warmth, there's a closeness that's really nice. You see how important they are to each other. Like they're family. But then you move on to Happy and Peter, if you remember. Happy wasn't happy with Peter in the beginning. He was just like, you're an annoying kid. I don't want to watch you. But I have to because Mr. Stark says I have to. And then it's like, okay, I respect you, kid. But now it's a whole different story because Tony's gone and they're bonded over that. Like they're closer because of that, because you can see that, there's a difference. But then of course, because he's closer to Peter and he's more accepting and open of Peter, and he's welcoming Peter in, then there's Aunt May. And are they together? Are they not? Will they? Won't they? There's definitely something there.
Something's going on there, yeah.
Well,
which is really fun to see.
When you hear Happy call it the Peter tingle, something's up.
I mean, I feel like that actually is the best way to sum up Spider-Man Far From Home, is that it's really a movie about relationships.
Yes.
If you really think about it.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're seeing many different types of relationships and the effect that they have on people, logically. Because we're getting, finally getting the relationship with Peter and MJ. Whatever it's going to take place, whatever form it's going to be, we'll see.
You see the interplay between them. Yeah. So there is a relationship of sorts, but it's like they're dancing around each other.
So we have like the relationship between Happy and Aunt May,
Happy
which is the growing one as well. It's going to probably be like the mirror or the foil to Peter and MJ in the next movie.
We'll see how that goes.
We had the interesting relationship between Ned and Betty.
Yeah,
which was really fun.
That was fun and unexpected.
Really fun counterpoint.
I still want to know what made them decide to break up.
Yes. Well, they decided, people grow apart.
Yes, but I want to know what exactly made them go, oh, babe, I don't want to see you anymore.
I totally understand, babe.
I want to know what led to that moment.
That really matured a lot in 2 weeks. Or however long the trip was supposed to be, yeah.
Who knows?
Whatevs, yeah.
That tranking from Fury must have really helped.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, so you have MJ and Peter and May, Peter and Happy and May, Ned and Betty. But then you go into the other kinds of relationships, and you have Peter and Ned, which does change a little bit, in part because of Betty. But also,
Kind of, sort of.
In part because of Betty, but also because of Peter and his neuroses, and also Peter's developing relationship with Mysterio. And then there's their relationship. There's the relationship with Peter and Nick Fury. And then there's the relationship between the three of them.
Yes, there's some interesting dynamics going on with all this stuff. And,
yeah.
Now we get to talk about Gyllenhaal. Well, I guess Sam Jackson, he's awesome. We don't really need to say much more about him.
Well,
But
no. Actually, Sam Jackson is good as Fury, but at the same time, he seemed a little off. I mean, it was the same Nick Fury, but there was a difference. And I think it was summed up best when he says, because for starters, Peter was ghosting him. He was ghosting him, and it's like, oh my god, you do not ghost Nick Fury.
And it brings up a good point also they made in the movie, is that this is actually the first time they've met.
Yeah.
Was in Venice. So even though they were at the funeral together, they never actually talked to each other.
Yeah.
So this is their first time interacting.
Mm-hmm. And that's really cool. And it's even acknowledged that Nick wanted to get in touch, wanted to talk to Peter, but that was only at the funeral, and he was like, yeah, not in the best taste. And they both agreed, wrong time.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool because it was like a weird moment where they were both on the same level. Nick is definitely a little different. For starters, just the fact that he said, bitch, please.
Well, that's the thing he would say.
No, it's absolutely a thing he would say, but...
I feel like you just want to jump ahead now and talk about the big thing.
No, I don't want to talk about the big thing. In terms of Nick, you can definitely see that there's a change where when he says 5 years ago, he had all these contacts, he had all this stuff at his disposal, he knew everything that was going on, and now it's 5 years later, and he doesn't know what the heck's happening. I think that's a really important moment, because I think there's a little bit of that. You feel that a little bit from him.
Even though it's the end of Phase 3, it is the start of a new chapter, because it's been 5 years, and Nick Fury's been missing, so he's got nothing right now, too. He's basically starting fresh, and he doesn't like that. So
yeah, and you can tell, and it doesn't affect some of how he behaves, and there's more to that we can talk about later, but I think that's important to note. Just as, speaking of the 5 years, real quick, there's not much of a huge difference in the way people are acting, but they opened the movie with the kids talking about it's been 5 years, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
But they talk about how some kids were just, if you were blipped away, you came back the same, no aging or anything. But if you were one of the few that stayed, and you aged 5 years, I don't know where... There's a little bit of a plot hole here, because I don't see how somebody who's aged 5 years should still be in the same class, unless they stopped schooling altogether. But that's a different story.
Yeah, that part still bugs me a lot, actually, is the whole 5-year thing. Like, that bugged me in Endgame.
Yeah.
Bugs me now. I don't get it still.
One character in particular, what's his name, Brad or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so Brad, they show him how he starts off as like some sweet or obnoxious little kid, and then 5 years later he's turned into this major hunk. Okay, for starters, he is a hottie. Don't get me wrong, total hottie. And vying for MJ's affections, which is another thing Peter has to contend with.
Yeah.
But why is he in the same class?
And this is kind of something that wasn't really explained as well. Maybe that was the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just 5 years younger in a different class. Now he's in the same class as them. But, I mean, why would he know someone 5 years younger? So, I don't really know.
I don't either.
That's a tough one to figure it out.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going for.
Yeah, but overall, the blip hasn't affected anyone too crazily. It doesn't look as though it's affected life too severely.
That's what I mean. It's like the blip, you compare it to Avengers Endgame, and the blip was like the most catastrophic thing. Now that everybody's back, or whatever, for whatever reason, in the Spider-Man movie universe, it's like, meh, whatevs.
Yeah, well, no.
And that's kind of how they treat it, too, because like, they have the kids introduce it, so it is being treated as like a funnier, softer thing.
Yeah, it is.
As opposed to like Endgame, where you see Cap in a support group.
Yeah. And, well, you know what, I think that also shows that kids are resilient in a different way. I will say that. I mean, kids are, oh my god, young people, I don't want to call them kids because they're teenagers, but young people are more resilient on a lot of that stuff.
True, but then again, I mean, what about these kids who had their parents blipped?
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I absolutely,
like that.
I'm sure there are kids there are teens and kids who are devastated by what happened, but they're not showing that because that would help bring it down, and they're going to use Peter for that. The biggest changes that we see in the world is there are a lot of Iron Man shrines. And
Yeah.
people talking about Iron Man, this Iron Man, that. And then there's Peter, who's basically the person who feels the loss the greatest. You know, like, he's the one who's heavy with that.
Heavy who wears the crown.
I was gonna say that, and then I was just like, I don't want to go there, because really it's Heavy who wears the sunglasses.
Ah.
See what I did there?
It's Heavy who wears Edith.
Good old Edith.
Even dead, I'm the hero. Which is the greatest thing ever. Let's talk about what we all came here for. That's a piece of the Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal.
So my number one thing about him is that Marvel...
His dreamy eyes?
Well, that and his beard and everything else. But I have to say, like, he's one of the best villains they've had in a while.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
He is the most developed villain.
Yes.
That's what I've enjoyed about him the most, is that, you know, it's something we've complained about with other movies, which we haven't done videos about. It's our first movie review, if you can believe it.
But if you listen to us talking...
when we saw Black Panther, like, we were like, wow, finally a more developed villain, but we wish there was more. And because at that point, really, Black Panther's villain, Killmonger, was the most developed villain.
And was he even really the villain?
Yeah, good point.
That's a whole different thing. But yeah.
But before that, we had, like, in Thor, we had Hela.
Ugh.
And it was like, she should have been more. And it's just, you know, going down the line, all these other Marvel movies especially, villains were always very lackluster. Like, they were just there to be villainous jerks and no purpose, no motive.
Same with Thanos. Thanos might have had the motive, but at the same time, it's like...
They were banking on just the name power of Thanos.
Yeah. There was so much more to him, and we didn't get to see that.
Thanos in the movies is very, very simplified.
Yeah.
But, you know, because Thanos in the comics is really complex. In the movie, it was just very one note, and
I mean, he showed emotion here and there, especially with, like, Gamora, and even with Nebula. But yeah, it just stunk because it was just, this is my goal, this is what I'm doing. Boom, no complexities.
I would even go as far as to challenge Thanos, despite the fact that he's had all the many movies he appeared in. I'd still say that Quentin Beck as Mysterio probably still more developed in a lot of ways.
I'm gonna agree with you on that.
Which is crazy to think that, you know, in this short amount of time he had.
Yeah.
But he had a legitimate backstory. We spent a lot of time with him, which is nice also. We spent a lot of time with him. Partly it helps because he's like the good guy at first, then he's revealed to be the bad guy. We spent a lot of time with him, which was very helpful.
Yes.
That helps flesh him out a lot. And then his motive and his backstory and the whole team, that was really great. That was a really great turn of events that I didn't expect to happen in the movie.
I expected him to...
We knew he was going to turn heel.
Yeah, we knew that it was...
But we didn't know how.
Exactly. I think that was one of the best moments because up until that point, he's so wonderful with Peter. And you could see that there's something real there. And even later on, when he's pissed at Peter for ruining his plans, he still actually cares about him. To a degree.
Yeah.
It's a lesser degree, but he does care about him in some way. But then that moment where he turned heel, oh my god, that was beautiful. That was so beautiful because I was actually watching this going, does some tragedy start? I was just wondering when was it going to happen.
Yeah, right. They were really playing it straight.
Oh my god, it was wonderful.
It really was a great reveal. Like, even though we knew it was coming, I started questioning it. Like,
yes,
is he gonna turn heel? Like,
yeah,
what's going on here?
I kind of wondered about that too. I was like, is he gonna somehow be a good guy? And
they
then
milked
Peter
it really well.
You know what? I kind of wondered if it was gonna be like the Green Goblin thing from the Toby years.
That's a good theory. Yeah.
Where it was just like, are they gonna be good and fight some evil together? And then at the last minute, Peter accidentally screws something up and costs Mysterio something. You know, like I really wondered if that's what was gonna happen. And then no, he just started laughing and he's like,
yeah.
Team. The fact that he even had the team.
That was probably like the best.
Oh
he had
my
a whole
god.
Team. Like,
that was brilliant.
That whole scene was really what I liked about it the most was the fact that it also tied in the other phases of the movies because like it went back to the very first movie.
Oh my god, I love that.
Because we see the evil team that he's got of all the former employees. One of them was from Iron Man 1 who was like, hey, we should actually probably check. Let's just check that right now, in fact. So like one of them was supposedly a villain or not. So one of them was supposedly like a scientist in the very first Iron Man movie that was in a scene with Obadiah Stane.
Yep.
And then another one was Jake Gyllenhaal, which was in Iron Man 3. He was apparently the guy that made that whole holographic system, and he didn't like that. Tony called it barf, and then eventually did nothing with it.
Well, he made it therapeutic as
yeah.
opposed to something decent.
Actually using it.
Yep.
So like he has this team with tons of people at Motive, and it's just really great how it was connected back to everything we've seen in other movies. Like that for me was really, really cool. So we tried looking it up. We couldn't exactly figure it out. But if
Yeah.
you guys can let us know, in the comments, do tell us.
I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure he's not.
Pretty sure none of them were. Yeah, they were all just cut in and they used like stand-ins.
Yeah, but it was just so great to have that tie-in.
Yes, it was really, really great.
That was a wonderful callback. I absolutely loved that. But something else that I really loved about that, and I don't know, some people could say it's kind of a reflection of some stuff that happens in the real world. I love that the tech was given credit to different people.
Yeah.
And they're literally saying, you have Tony Stark, the man who claimed he could do it all, and he was a genius, and he did do all that stuff. But then you have these people who are like, no, yeah, we all worked for Tony, and we all created these things, and these things, and these things, and these things. We helped build the stuff that, was going on in his brain. There was more to Tony than just Tony. And they were pissed that they didn't get the recognition that, they kind of properly deserved.
That's a pretty great motive to be bad guys.
I know, I think it's a wonderful motive.
It's a very human motive.
Yes. I like that. I like that we got away from the whole giant space alien.
Yeah, like the actual threat was actual coworkers or employees of Tony Stark. Like it's a pretty great story, just on on its own merit as a revenge story. That's pretty great. I
thought it was wonderful.
It's so perfectly grounded in humanity. Mm-hmm. And it's a nice change of pace since we just had these giant intergalactic threats and whatever going on. It's nice to just have a bunch of disgruntled employees.
Yes, I do love my disgruntled employees. Speaking of Tony, and I think it's important that we mention him. One relationship that is also there is Tony and Peter.
Yes.
That relationship is still very much alive because of how Peter is feeling and how Peter is processing his death. But there are some other kind of cool things where you can see, Tony gives Peter Edith the sunglasses because he claims that, Peter's his number one guy. He's the successor. Peter doesn't feel that, which is what leads him to give the Edith to Mysterio, which, is the catalyst for really lots of horrible things.
Yeah.
But more than that, later on, when Peter's at his lowest and he and Happy are reunited because he needed all the help he could get. Shout out to the Netherlands, though.
Yeah,
apparently they're really nice.
Raise your phone to make a giant long-distance call. There you go.
But no, when Happy and Peter are reunited, and Happy talks to Peter, helps him feel more confident and more comfortable and all that stuff, there's something else that happens. It's not just that Peter starts becoming more secure, but it's also when Happy says, here, take a look at all this stuff for your new suit. One, you see that Peter stopped giving a damn about not being, about being the smartest person in the room, which is a throwback to what Mysterio said to him earlier. And two, you see him basically go into Tony mode.
Yeah.
As he's putting it all together, and I think this is a masterful scene because Happy sees what's happening too, and he's just like full of pride. Like he feels there's lots of love there.
He's really becoming the father figure.
He is in that.
He's growing into that role from the beginning.
He's becoming the uncle figure. He's not the father figure. Tony was the dad.
Yeah, he'll never be the father figure.
Tony was the papa. Happy's the uncle.
Yeah, all right.
That way he can be with Aunt May.
He's becoming the paternal symbol.
He is. But then on top of that, though, I think it's important to note that Peter knew he couldn't do this entirely alone. He had help with Happy. It might not have worked out the way he wanted, but he put Happy in charge. He had Happy do a thing.
Yeah.
And that just shows why he's the hero and Mysterio is not, because Mysterio had this team, but in his brain, they were working for him. He might have claimed that this was for all of them and for everything, but as you see going through, no, it's about him becoming the greatest Avenger. It's about him getting all the accolades. It's about him maybe meeting the Queen and needing his cape to be pressed,
Yeah.
Sorry, steamed.
Steamed, yeah.
Yeah, steamed. So
it's steamed, Janice.
Yeah, right? But I think it was just an interesting little... I think it's subtle, but also noticeable. That you see Peter... and it's also how Peter's different from Tony. Tony's all, I gotta do it by myself. Peter knows that he can't do everything by himself. Even though he tries, he knows he can't. And yeah, so that's why Peter's the hero, and Mysterio, as awesome as he is the villain.
I haven't read any other reviews yet of the Spider-Man Far From Home movie, so I don't know what else people are saying about it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if people are going to be thinking that Gyllenhaal's performance is too hammed up or too cheesy.
I don't think it is.
I think it's pretty close to me, because he is. At the end of the day, he is a theater guy. Like that, in the comics, that is his origin. He's a theater guy, or the movie, whatever it is, who does all this crazy special effects work. In this case here, he's a mad scientist, basically.
He's a brilliant mad scientist.
Yeah, like they say he's like unstable.
Yes.
So I think, he's very comic booky, but he didn't feel over the top. It just felt like this is who he is. And I attribute that just to Jake Gyllenhaal being great at what he does.
Yeah.
It could have gone either way. Like I always look back to Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2.
Ugh.
But, where you had a great actor.
Yeah.
And he had comic book lines to work with, and he did the best he could with it, and it worked.
Yeah.
Whereas then let's say we fast forward to Jamie Foxx as Electro.
Let's
and
not.
you had Diarrhea Dump. I think Gyllenhaal did a really great job what he was given and really made it into his own.
In that sense, I'm going to say, yay for theater training!
Yes.
Yay for theater training! Oh, but yeah, because Jake Gyllenhaal is, a theater nerd.
Yeah.
But Mysterio's in
Perfect
theory.
pairing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He played nice and sweet, and then when he got the crazy eyes, I'm like, damn. Jake Gyllenhaal is a freak to me! I don't care. I hope one day he sees this. He is a freak to me because I don't understand how you could have Seymour Krelborn and Mysterio at the same time. And then whatever his gladiator, muscly bound stuff is.
Yeah.
Like, he's a friggin' chameleon.
Like, that's what was so great about this role is he really did play multiple parts as himself,
Yeah.
as Quentin Beck. He had to be different roles. He had to be friendly, faking it with Spider-Man. Meanwhile, he's actually this manipulative villain behind the scenes. But then beyond that, he's actually a very calculated villain.
Yeah, but at the same time, he also liked Peter. So while he was manipulating him, he was also liking him.
And you get all of that with his performance.
Exactly.
It was really nuanced. And that's why I'm saying he's, again, going back to what I said like a while ago, he is the most developed villain. And it's
Absolutely.
And because we had so much time to spend with him, we got to get all those pieces.
I know, I love that. And because Jake is such he's such an accomplished actor, he's able to give us all of that because with a different actor, we might not have seen all those different shades.
Yeah.
It might have been hammier, it might have been too serious.
Could have been too saccharine,
Yeah, it could have gone so many different ways, and Jake just played all those complexities, and I absolutely loved that.
So one of the things that I liked especially, and this goes back to something we talked about, things being more grounded in humanity and I guess realism, was the action scenes. Because, again, these weren't like giant, big cosmic battles. We pulled things back now to a more localized level. But we still got really great stuff, because we had essentially Hydro Man, Molten Man, Wind Guy. I don't know. We had a lot of cool villains that were still pretty big on scale, but small in where they were.
Elementals.
Yeah. They were still pretty cool. They were like, the stakes were there.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's more stakes of like people and citizens as opposed to like the entire world.
I have to say, I actually felt it a lot more. One, because I have some relatives who are overseas in a few of the and they were in one of the locations that they were shooting in, which kind of messed me up for a hot second. But also just seeing the destruction of a localized place, of one spot, like when the buildings were falling down in Venice.
Yeah, and like that bell tower.
Oh my god!
Like that, like especially in Europe, it's like those are like hundreds of years old, real pieces of cultural importance to these people, and they're just being destroyed because Mysterio's a jerk.
Oh my god, it hurt. It hurt to see that.
But the amount of effort that Peter's putting in to try and save these things, like that's why he's still friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He does the things for the neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's for certain.
Yeah. So I like those. So the stakes were big, and even the final big action scene, like, where Peter's back with his new suit.
There was some cool stuff there,
really cool stuff. Yeah, I like the action, and another cool stuff I also really liked, going back to Mysterio, is all the hallucination scenes.
Oh my god, those are so cool!
Those are so cool, really intense. Like, that's when you really have to see Mysterio shine as, like, horrible, evil villain Mysterio.
Oh my god, that was some messed up stuff.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Like, as the audience, you really begin to question, too, what is real, what isn't.
Yeah, I mean, there were some moments where you see him punching, and at first he's punching nothing, and then they show what he's making contact with, and it's like, oh, how?
Yeah.
And what?
It's really good stuff. Yeah, like seeing Zombie Iron Man was really great.
That was fantastic!
Yeah.
I meant to thank you for bringing it up. Zombie Iron Man. I love that they just got that. They were able to sneak that in. That's one heck of an Easter egg if you know, and otherwise it's just a cool effect.
It was, and just all those scenes were just really, really cool, really well done.
Yeah, I completely agree with you that they were really well done. They were interesting. And
nice change of pace is really what it comes down to.
Yes, I think that's probably the best way to put it. It's a nice change of pace, given all the stuff that we've been dealing with the other movies.
That's actually one of the things I was most curious about when seeing the movie. Was like, how are they going to handle what Mysterio actually does? Because he's the master of illusion. What's he going to do?
Think about it is the animated series.
Oh, yeah, it was...
No! Hey, Spider-Man...
Mysterio in the animated series, like this giant bodybuilder. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, I know, but I meant the illusion stuff. Like, that's the best I could come up with. I had no clue how they were going to do it, and I thought I didn't know how they were going to do it in the movie, and in the movie, it was just so well done.
It was really great. Like, Mysterio is kind of like considered a B-grade villain in a lot of ways. He shows up a lot. He does cool stuff sometimes, but at the end of the day, he's not that special, really, in a lot of ways.
He's
but,
okay.
Like, they really showed him as a real power here, and that was not through using, like, muscle or whatever. It's through using his hallucinations and his mind, and, like, really just torturing Peter in a way that he has not been...
Oh,
we really haven't seen too many... I'm trying to think of other Marvel movie villains we've seen so far, who have antagonized their heroes, and, like, this is probably the most torture we've really seen a hero go through, like, in that capacity. Aside from, like, Nebula being tortured by Thanos, which is a little different.
No, I mean, anytime there's been something...
Like, physical torture versus mental torture.
Yeah.
I think Peter got really put through the ringer here.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
I like to say that, like, Peter Parker is the Charlie Brown of the Marvel Universe.
He is.
Yeah. Like, Mysterio really pulled that football away.
Oh my god, every time something good happened. Nope.
Yeah, that's Spider-Man.
Yeah, so this brings us to the end.
So the ending itself, after Peter wins the day, and
Does he
Nick
win
Fury's
the day?
all happy and stuff,
Yeah.
and Peter goes off, and so this point now, MJ knows that he is Spider-Man. So that's another cool thing they've added.
I liked how they did that. I liked that not only does MJ know, but she figured it out. She was like, what, 67% or 76%?
67%. Yeah, 66%.
Yeah, something like that. But the fact that she brought it up and she was right, I kind of love that, because one of the things I've always hated about the other versions of MJ is that it's like, dude, he keeps leaving.
Yeah,
come on. He's sticky. He has these weird reflexes. Just he's Spider-Man. Just accept it. You know in your heart of hearts he's Spider-Man. Just go with it. This MJ's all like, yeah, no, you're Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'd rather you be Spider-Man than the dude I want to kiss. But still, now you're both. I'll kiss you anyway.
And so now MJ and Peter are together, yay, and he swings around town, which is actually a really fun scene. I did like that, him swinging around on their little date. And Peter drops her off in front of Madison Square Garden, and then, uh-oh, what's this? Breaking news.
Mysterio, before he was defeated, he did say that there were contingency plans.
And that dingus had a heck of a contingency plan.
Whew!
He still had one other video because one of his buddies got left behind, made a little video dealy. And it just happened to get to the hands of a certain person from the Daily Bugle.
This was the best! Okay.
That was unexpected for me, let me tell you.
To everybody who's seen the movie before us, to everybody out in the interwebs who's seen the movie since. 1, don't spoil. 2, thank you for not spoiling this. This was beautiful. Oh, by the way, this is end credit stuff, so...
He walked out during the credits. You're an idiot.
You're not an idiot, you're just... No, you're an idiot.
No, you're an idiot.
Yeah, because Marvel's still doing it. This was by far and away my favorite reveal that I've seen in a movie in so long. There's a big, astonishing news alert from the Daily Bugle's #1 own J. Jonah Jameson! But it's not just J. Jonah Jameson.
Only one that matters. It's J.K. Simmons.
The one and only. Wow. At this point, I've seen J.K. Simmons in so many other things, but my brain...
everything, yeah.
Yeah, but my brain just still thinks of him as J. Jonah.
He was iconic in that role then. He's iconic now, clearly.
I mean, I grew... Yeah. He is the only J. Jonah for me.
And for me, I'm just like, I'm looking at his hair. And to
Oh
me,
my god, his hair is just like, what?
So I'm just like wondering now, like, is J. Jonah like the one thing that's constant in the Marvel universe throughout all the timelines? Because he's gotten older since we last saw him in Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Here he is again as J. Jonah, but now he's got no hair on top of his head. So, like, is this the same J. Jonah?
Yes. I don't care what anybody says.
Is he a Watcher?
Yes.
Is he like some kind of cosmic entity?
He is J. Jonah Jameson, and he is eternal.
He's some kind of space thing that goes through time to ruin Peter Parker's life.
He is constant. You know how, like, in Doctor Who, there are, like, points in time that are just constant, and you cannot change... they are definite. You cannot change it. That is what J. Jonah Jameson is. J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson... God, that's a mouthful.
Yes, all the J's.
Is the one constant of all the Marvel universes.
And he needs to ruin Peter Parker's life and demand pictures of Spider-Man in every universe.
Every single one. He needs to just destroy it.
He hasn't gotten there yet, but this is actually the first movie we've seen him using a camera, seeing Peter Parker use a camera for the first time. So, because as of now, we've only really seen him again as Spider-Man doing Spidey stuff, being a high schooler. He hasn't discovered he likes photography yet.
No.
So this is our first little tease of that, if that's what's going to happen.
I hope so. Well,
now that we're talking the end, because now that basically the entire world now knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's how the movie ends, on that note of Peter Parker going, holy, and that's it. So this is like a real game changer now, and I can see why this is it could be the end of the Phase 3, it could be the start of Phase 4, but I could see it as being something really final, but also starting something very big and branching.
Yes.
And it kind of mirrors Tony Stark at the end of Iron Man 1.
Yes.
But this time, he's forced into it, as opposed to wanting to reveal it voluntarily.
And it's also more negative than positive, where
Yeah.
Tony was all like, yeah, I am Iron Man. I don't care. This is me.
Peter is a high schooler who wants to have a life, and that was the big crux of the movie, is having a life outside being a hero.
How do you... Okay, can I just say, J. Jonah is, like, so friggin' stupid for this. Like, how do you do that to a teenager? There are, like, laws against that sort of thing.
He doesn't care. It's Spider-Man. He's a menace to society.
I don't care. That was just some seriously irresponsible, reporting.
It's going to have some repercussions, I hope, and that's what I hope we get to see whenever Spider-Man, whatever's next, comes out.
Yes.
Spider-Man going away from home to go to college. I don't know what it's going to be. But
Spider-Man on the lam. Because where does he go from there?
Spider-Man and Louise. But that was a pretty shocking way to finish the movie. I did not see that one coming. Because that's just like, they've already taken the Spider-Man in a whole new direction from the comics. The MJ is a whole new MJ. I mean, everything is very, very different.
I love Ned.
This
Ned's
is like
such a great...
To me, this is like a way of telling the audience, like, it's our story. You have no control over this anymore. You don't know what you're in for. You're now in for a ride that you're not expecting.
Other than, J. Jonah Jameson.
Other than J. Jonah.
J. Jonah.
It's kind of J. Jonah. But at this point, like, Marvel's in control. You better sit back and enjoy it, because this is a whole new universe now.
Yeah, and I mean, they even did that in the post-credits scene, too. Which we should quickly touch upon, because you have the whole thing that happened to Peter, but then you have what happened to Nick Fury.
So, apparently, Nick Fury's been on vacation.
Well, no, not so much on vacation. He's just been in space. Hanging out with some Skrulls.
And Maria Hill and Nick Fury on Earth were actually Skrulls.
Yeah.
Really convincing Skrulls.
They were, but I do wonder if some of the, the changes that I saw earlier that that we, the moviegoer sees earlier in the movie, if that's a reflection of the fact that there's Skrulls and they don't quite have, him down yet.
Yeah.
But I also don't, because, it's still Nick Fury. The instincts were a little off. That might have been part of why the instincts were off, too.
But then again, he did have Maria Hill know to blow up the drone.
Well, yeah, because he's smart enough to figure that part out. But
and he also knew about the secret code.
Mm-hmm. Even though it didn't seem like he did, which I thought was pretty great.
Well, he had to play it off because the case was being monitored.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great the way that was played off. Speaking of Maria Hill, real quick, it was really nice to see her do a lot more. Colby Smulders has not had a lot to do with Maria Hill, and at least this time she got to be a little bit more active.
Yeah.
Which was very nice, and I hope we see more of that. But yeah, so Nick's been hanging out with the Skrulls, and I guess they're the new version of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, we don't really know what their deal is yet.
But if you saw Captain Marvel, you know what's going on there, so...
Basically, the Skrulls are here, they're going to do stuff. Does this mean we're headed towards now Secret Invasion? Because Captain Marvel kind of already touched a little bit on what, the Skrulls can do in terms of that.
Yeah, but it's just... I don't think we're at Secret Invasion yet, because we're dealing with the whole Peter thing. We have to see how the other movies develop, I think.
Yeah.
See what kind of through line, because I feel like going with multiverse is a better way to do it. I mean, we've done Cosmic already, but at the same time, Cosmic always feels like a good event to bring everyone together. If they're just dealing with individual stuff, then
Well, I think we are headed for another cosmic event ultimately.
Oh, yeah.
If they're doing the Celestials movie and everything else they have
Oh,
planned,
absolutely.
we're headed for another big cosmic event. We still have Adam Warlock somewhere out there because we
We
never
need
saw
to
what
get
that giant gold cocoon was at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and we know
True.
at least we can really infer that's Adam Warlock. He's just sitting out hanging. in his
Yeah, I mean,
cocoon.
there's a lot of stuff that's gonna happen.
The point is, Skrulls are here. They're doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What that means long term, we'll have to wait and see because it's gonna be a little while before anything new Marvel comes out.
Yeah, ugh.
That's what we're at now. Is now the wait for whatever is next, which I think is Black Widow.
Which, on the one hand, I'm good and happy about because she deserves the movie, but at the same time, I'm like, after the events of Endgame, really?
Yeah, I mean that's a whole other video, really. But
Yeah, we're not gonna touch on that one.
But I mean, to be fair, now we are officially into Phase 4. Like,
Yes.
since they're gonna count Spidey Far From Home as the end of Phase 3, that means Black Widow kicks off our next line. And
it's gonna be interesting.
basically something's gonna happen in that movie that will be the catalyst for everything that happens in the future. I think.
Yeah, it has to. That's
It can't just be. It can't be a throwaway movie. They can't waste it like that.
They can't. If they do that, that would be.
They've already wasted Black Widow so much.
I know, right?
They can't do it further than what they've already done, right? So.
Yeah, I would love for there to be a lot more of. I just want more Widow carried through, even though there's the Endgame consequences.
Yeah.
But I want whatever happens in Black Widow to resonate throughout Phase 4. And hey, if it wants to go into phase 5, I'm not gonna say no, depending on
Well,
what it
it's
is.
still many years away.
I know, right? Oof.
So yeah, the big question now is what's going to happen next with Spidey.
If you have any thoughts, down below. I'd love to know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, because I don't even know what to think yet, because there's just so much more that can happen. I really haven't even began to think about that. So.
Yeah, I'm just like, Spidey on the lam. Spidey on the lam. And also, I want to know what Flash's reaction is going to be when he sees that Peter is... That's what I want. That's what I want.
Spider-Man Far From Home, final verdict. Andrea, go. I need pictures of Spider-Man.
I don't even know what I'm doing there. Good movie, go see it.
Yeah, I agree. I like Spider-Man movies a lot. This was a really, really great one.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, I just finally saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which we somehow missed in theaters because we had life happen.
Mm-hmm. And that is the best.
Yeah, pretty much the best, but this is really, really great too. So, not really... It's hard to really compare the two, to be honest. Like, they're very different movies, and we're not here to compare them either.
No.
That'll be a different video. But, overall, Spider-Man Far From Home is great. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't really give ratings to things, but I'd give it a whole bunch of flips from me. It was really good. Totally worth seeing.
Yeah, I'd actually say the Tom Holland Spideys, like the standalones, and Into the Spider-Verse are my top 3 favorites. But yeah, lots of flips for Far From Home.
Like Far From Home, it's really well paced. It gets right into it too. Like
Yes.
there's no time wasted here. We go right into things, which is also really nice because there's a lot to do. So they can't really waste any time.
And even in the slower scenes, it doesn't feel slow.
Never felt slow. Actually,
No.
I'll say like it always was moving well. It was always moving.
Yeah.
You always wonder when to go to the bathroom. Which, by the way, I would say for anybody who's going to see it, or well, at this point, if you have whatever, you've already seen it. I hope. I pretty much went when Mysterio was talking to Peter in the bar. So I was like, I know what's going to happen here. This is where he turns heel.
Yeah, but at the same time...
That was my guess, and I worked out being right, and it took forever, which was good.
Yeah, but at the
it's
same
still a good
time,
scene.
you did miss that little... you did miss a couple little moments that just would have made it a little more satisfying. So try not to go to the bathroom if you can help it.
Yeah.
But if you have to, yeah, that's a good place.
But yeah, overall, it was like really, really good. Everything about it was really enjoyable. Great action. No
Great
complaints.
effects.
Yeah, I really have no complaints. I can't really think of any negatives other than just like some of the weird gaping plot holes that are left over from Endgame with the blip, which bugged me for Endgame also. And I'm happy that we're now moving away from that, and that this will be probably the last time we hear about the blip.
No, we're probably gonna hear about it.
I hope we don't hear about it for a while because
Well, we're not gonna hear about it for a while because we're gonna have if we're getting Black Widow next, then we're gonna be okay for a while.
I feel like this is the end of the blip talk. At this point, we've moved past it. I think that's why it was handled so humorously here.
Yeah.
To be like, well, now at this point, life has gone on, and we're all here, we're all back. We're getting back to normal life now, which everybody seems to be now.
I feel like it'll just randomly pop up. It's like, well, before the blip, or after the blip, I did this. Like there's gonna be a little bit, but it's not gonna be as heavy as this was.
Yeah.
Now it's just gonna be a conversation piece.
So Spider-Man Far From Home,
See it
great as I expected.
again if you haven't.
Yeah, I'd see it again just because I want to look at more things. I want to analyze
do
for other
I.
things too. There's some things I want to look at a little bit closer now. Yeah. One other last piece of housekeeping, just to note here, is that this was the first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie without Stan Lee.
I didn't want you to bring that up.
We have to.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like the cameo wasn't actually missed as much as I hate to say it. It didn't really need to have the Stan Lee cameo. It sucks he's not here, and it still had a tribute to him at the end of the credits. But, now we're in a post-Stanley world, and this is what we're going to have to get. And, I was really enraptured in the movie enough that I didn't really realize that until towards the end.
I feel the same way. It wasn't missed. There were a couple of moments where I see it could have been kind of fun to have him.
Yeah.
But looking back, but while watching the movie, I didn't feel his loss. But now when you bring it up, I'm just like, oh.
This is now Phase 4, which is without the Stanley appearances. So it's a tough one, but...
that's painful.
What would be nice, though, I wouldn't mind, in replacement of that, is, like, why don't we get some of the Marvel creators who are still around to
Oh my god, that would be wonderful!
I mean, we could easily still get any John Romita Jr. There's a lot of folks who are still alive that have worked on Spider-Man that are pretty prolific.
Oh my god, that would be so good.
I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get Todd McFarlane in a movie.
How about we get some Dan Slott?
There's plenty of choices. Yeah, you can get a lot of dudes into this universe still.
Oh my god, that would be so good.
That'd be a lot of fun to do. Like, again, like looking back at the Hulk movies, like you got Lou Ferrigno once, so why not? Let's get some of the guys in there too. There's a whole other world of creators out there, and now that we're in the part of the movies that we can now credit creators, which has been a thing. Let's get some of their face in there too. Give them some royalty money for showing up. Give them a paycheck because they helped make this universe.
Yeah, and if they want to throw up a Stan Lee picture so it becomes a thing of where's the Stan
that
picture,
could be fun too.
I'd be cool with that, but I really like this idea of let's get some creators in there.
Yeah.
That would be the best. Tell us your thoughts about, the movie, where you think things are going to go from here, what you think of our idea about, Matthew's idea about getting the creators in there. Just Yeah, but let's have some conversations down below.
Yeah, 'cause there's plenty more we didn't talk about in this video because we didn't want to be here all day, and we have so much more to discuss.
As you can see.
Yeah. So go ahead, leave us some comments, and we'll talk with you guys, and we'll chat Spidey, and talk about how to get pictures of him. So I need pictures of Spider-Man.
Times Square.
Off we go. So I'm gonna go take some photos of Spider-Man. I'm Matthew.
I'm Andrea.
And this is Nerd News Today, doing movie reviews. What?
We might even try and do it again someday.
I know.
What?
I know. We might see movies. Crazy is that?
Who are you?
A Skrull.
Oh, that explains so
Boy,
much.
I'm a Skrull with a British accent. Because the Skrulls are from good old London, eh? Pip, pip. What? Skrull? I'm Matthew.
I'm sadly Andrea.
We'll see you guys next time. Thwip, thwip. Thwip, thwip. Thwip, thwip. Thwippity, thwippity.
Are you done?
Yes.